OXDF here with another RunCode challenge. This time it's JSON's sorting socket. It's an intermediate math and network challenge. Thought this one was kind of fun. Haven't shown a network one yet, so hopefully this was interesting. Our internal training team decided to pull together some JSON training with a twist. They set up a socket to serve some JSON data for the user to sift through, the classify, and print the results. However, they also wanted to prove that using the tail end of MD5 hashes to label files will produce a collision. So before you can get to the JSON data, you need to do a proof of work centered on MD5 hashes. The details are in the socket output. Finally, once you get the JSON, go ahead and read all of it, count out the different email domains, put them in the most to last seen. Then if there's ties, print them in reverse lexicographical order. See example below for details. I'm going to have to hit this socket and see what it says, but the results coming back are a series of domains with space, then a count, and it looks like when, all the twos are in reverse alphabetical order. So cool, let's check out what this socket has to offer. Make this a little bigger. So we'll just hit it with netcat, and the first thing it needs me to do is this, what it talked about proof of work. So I need a string that starts with ML blah blah blah, is a length of 15, and the MD5 sum ends in those 6 characters. Okay, so that's the first challenge. Make this a layer. We'll see Vim. What's this one called? JSON's sockets pi. So as usual, we put in our shebang. And we're going to import sys. We're also going to need, we're also going to need hashlib. That's what we're going to use to get the MD5 hash. And then I think I'm going to need, let's see, I guess itertools is the, and I'll go over this in a minute, but itertools is what we're going to use to construct this string of length 15. So let's get going on it here. So the first thing we need to do is, I wonder, let's just check real quick. Do I get the same challenge each time? It looks like I do. It looks like I am getting the same challenge each time, but let's go ahead and we can connect and parse it anyway, because again, when I submit this, I'm sure the proof of work will be different on the other side. So let's see, no, actually, sorry. Oh, we're gonna need socket, of course. Socket. One of the cool things, or one of the things that always bugged me was that they didn't have Pwntools in RunCode, and it actually turns out they got it working, and it's not documented yet. So I'll come back at the end of the video and show you how to how to use Pwntools. There's a little trick. You have to mess with the terminal environment variable to get it to work on their system. But anyway, I'll do it without for now because that's how most people are approaching it. So we'll do s equals socket dot socket socket dot af inet and socket dot sock stream. I've just typed this out too many times that I've got it memorized, except I can't spell. And that's going to create a TCP socket over IP. And then I can do s.connect, and that's sys.arg v1. So the first argument is what I'm connecting to. The second one will be the port number, like that. And I think connect is actually takes a single argument, but it's a tuple, so I need to put it in extra parentheses like that, and that'll work just fine. Now I want to I need a receive until, and really this is a pain in the butt. My gut instinct, what I always go first is to try to just sort of like, do a s.receive, put in some arbitrary large number here, print it. Ooh. I did some Vim typos there. Print it here, and then go up here and say, okay, what does that look like? JSON socket. Of course, probably should give it the actual things to connect to, and 9003. That. So there's the first receive. It gives me the complete proof of work. And so now I might say, I don't need to print that one, but I'm gonna do another receive, and this time I get the challenge. And that works okay, but sometimes weird things happen, especially if you get into loops where you're kind of guessing where it's going to break, and it's not super reliable. And so especially when you're testing on their side and you don't know what's coming, it's better to be a little bit more precise. And so I'm going to go ahead and define a receive until function, and it's going to take a socket and it's going to take a string. And that's all we, so that will be, we'll pass in a string and we'll receive data until that and then return it. So we'll create like a simple buffer equals like some bytes, and it'll be empty. And then we'll do a while true buff plus equals stock.recv. We're just going to stream 1 byte. And then we're going to do if buff.ends with string return buff. Now this is risky code, because if I put in a string that doesn't exist, it'll never return, or it doesn't, if I said receive until oxdf, it would never get that. So it would just receive, and then be stuck waiting. So it's kind of shit code, but it's going to have to be good enough for what I'm doing right here. And it's better than doing what I was doing right here. So now what I can do is receive until, pass it socket, and then my string is going to be, come back up here and do it with netcat again so we get it for sure. Give me a string starting with, so we'll do right like that. Paste that in. I'm guessing, let's go ahead and I'll do the encode. I'm going to need this to be bytes, so I'm going to do the encode here rather than having to remember to do all of my things as byte strings. And this is going to return that data, and I can just throw it away. I don't even need it. So now I can do receive until s, and now I want to receive until of length. LENGTH, like that. And then, so that's going to return, basically, it's going to return this, and I'm going to then split it on, so if I do split on, that's going to be these are going to be bytes, comma space, and I'm going to take just the first, print that to show that it worked. So I should have that worked. We should have, cool, the challenge, exactly what we're looking for. So it's going to be starting with. So let's come down here and we'll call this strings starts with equals, like that. Okay, now the next thing I need is this length here. So I can do recv until s, and we're going to do more. We'll do the same kind of thing here. We're going to do ends all the way to there, that, and this time we're going to still split it on that and take the first, and we're going to do something we're also going to make, this is going to be an int, so we'll pass it in here, and we'll call it string length equals, and now we get that. And then we need to read this last bit. So we will do this one, we can, because actually we know that we'll have the end of the input here, so we can just do a receive here. And so this will be hash ends with equals receive 1024, something ridiculously large, dot strip, because we want to get rid of that trailing period, dot space, new line, strip off anything like that. So I think if that, now we can check and see if all that worked. This is where I'll use an I to go interactive at the end. Oops, help if I can type. What line is that? 22. Receive until. There we go. Fix that. That is something I do all the time. Let's fix that. Bytes, like I told you I'd fall for that. Let's see, where do I need to do that split? Those are bytes. And receive is not defined. Oh, because I need to do s.receive. All right, that worked. So hash ends with, it looks good. Let's make it bigger. Maybe we can double check. Here, let's go back to netcat real quick, make sure we got it. Now we'll go here, hash ends with matches. String length, I believe we called it 15, and string starts with, I think we did. What do we call that variable? String starts with. And that looks like it matches there. So that's good. So now we've successfully acquired the piece of information we need. So now we need to make a loop over that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use something from Tools called the product. In fact, let's pull up the Tools page here. Tools Python. And so Tools is this awesome library for like different ways of combining and building things. And we're going to use the product. And the reason what's product here, you can see the example down here. The different examples of how you combine strings. So if we did like combinations of two of these, you're going to get no repeats. If you do permutations, you'll get still no repeats, but order matters. When you do product, what you're basically saying is, give me something that's too long, and then I don't, it can be AA, AB, it can repeat. Each one is independent of the first. So each one has an equal chance of picking A, B, C, or D, and it'll give you all those combinations. And so we are gonna loop over all of that in doing this. So what we want to do is Tools product. We're gonna need the string library. That seems the easiest way to do that. For string. What the string will let us do is, we'll show up here, string.printable will give me all the printable characters. Unless I really need it, I often will do string.printable -5 to get rid of the last 5, because unless I want the tab, new line, return, carriage return, and I don't even know what OXB and C are. But so for something like this, I'm pretty sure it's expecting a typable string. I could probably get rid of the space too, but I'm probably 6 of one, half dozen the other. So where are we here? We'll come back down here. In our product, we're going to do the string we're going to give it, or the characters we're going to give it is string.printable -5, maybe -6, doesn't, either way. And then repeat equals, and now what we want is a length 15. Well, I guess we don't know the length, so it'll be the string len minus the string they gave us. So they said they want 15, for example, and then, well, that's fine. So do that, and then we'll do minus the length of string starts with. So basically, if they give us a longer length or a longer starts with, it doesn't matter, because the result will be this. This will calculate the difference up to that point. So we can do for blob in that, and so now we're going to loop over all the combinations of different characters. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a if, let's see, we will do if, I guess we'll just, let's see, md5, calc md5 equals hashlib.md5 of this, so it's going to be string starts with plus blob. So that should, those two things together should give me I'll have to probably encode on that. So now I've got, between these two, I'll have whatever this starts with comes in, and then I'll add on enough to fill it up to character lengths with iteratively different things to try. So I got that, hexdigest will print out that. And so just that might be a lot to take in. So what I'm going to do here is drop into PDB and check it out. So -c break on line 27, and run the program. And so that didn't work. I probably hadn't saved the file yet, so there was no line 27. Okay, there we go. So if we just look right here, so string starts with plus blob. Let's see, what's blob? Zeros. So it's taking all character zeros. So does this work? No, we were going to get an error anyway. Error tuple has no thing in code. we're gonna need to join that. So we'll go ahead and work out our what it's gonna look like. So in case I might have gone too quickly through that. Basically my problem was, okay, so I have this blob, and when I had the product function, and it gave me, the first thing it gave me was the first thing 6 times or 5 times here. Well, that's fine, but let's see, is that string starts with, I should have picked shorter variable names. Okay, yeah, so string starts with was 10 long, so I get 5 more random characters. That makes sense. But I don't want this tuple of characters together. I want a string. So I'm going to join them like that, and that's what I want. Now I need to do encode, because I need it to be bytes. And then I can do string starts with plus. And now I've got my 15 character thing, and I can check the MD5. So I can do hashlib.md5 dot hexdigest. Now I have an MD5 hash. So what I really want to do is, so I've got my calc MD5. Let's go ahead and update our line here. Actually, we can do this in a little bit, in a few more steps if we want. So we can do test string equals that. Test hash equals hashlib.md5 test string dot hex digest if test hash dot ends with, and then what am I looking for? Hash ends with. I'm going to break. Now that should be my proof of work. So if this works, it's going to try as all these different combinations of 5 or 6 characters, whatever it was, 5 characters, and when it finds one that ends with the hash I was looking for, it'll break, and I can do let's see, print test string. That's what I want. All right, so now when I run this, I don't know if this is going to run fast or not. Oops, I don't want the PDB version. Let's try that. Let's see. Okay, ends with, first arg must be tuple or string, not bytes. Okay, because hash ends with, we read it in. Let's just decode it right there. All right. So this is running. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video while it does, and we'll pick up in a second when it finishes, either with the correct, with string or not. So, and of course, it was like a half a second after I stopped the video that it came back and gave me this result. So that is what it's proposing. We can come down here and always just check it in echo minus n into MD5 sum. And does it end with or what we're looking for? I already forgot. I think that looks right though. So at this point, I probably could just netcat it myself. Here we go. Ends with FDB1EB, FDB1EB. So that looks good. So that's very nice. I'm going to add a little cheat in here that says if n hash ends with equals, did I already lose it? Grab that. And so basically I'm just cheating a little bit here and just say test string equals, grab these 5 characters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that way and then break. And so I'm going to save myself the proof of work and make it go really, so if it's the case I already know, I'm going to just set it to what I already know is an answer and break, so I don't have to wait for it. And then otherwise I will do the proof of work again and break when it's over. Let's test that again, just to make sure it works. Clearly we did not do something right because it's back into the proof of work. Well, that's a good, let's try actually not making that a string and making that a, there we go. So that prints, oh, but we don't want that. We want test strings, so we're going to want string starts with plus that. I think I'm going to need to decode that. Let's try it again. And there we go. That worked very quickly, and it looks very similar to what I have the other way. Let's see. Test string. That's so actually we want to be consistent, so we had bytes coming out of there, so we want bytes coming here, and we're going to need bytes is what we're going to have to send anyway. So all that said, now we can do s.send, and then we'll do test string plus a new line, and that'll be good. And then I can do s.receive 2048 again. Let's do a print on that and see what comes next. That looks good. Yeah, you did it onto the real work. Yep, of course. Better put another one there. All right, so be prepared. Prepare to receive JSON data. And then there's some JSON data going beyond the end of my rope there. So what we're going to do is we'll do a receive until, and we need to go up through prepare to receive JSON data. Receive the JSON data. That's good. S, and then that. And we're just going to throw that away. We don't need it. And then let's go in here. I'm curious how much we actually have to deal with. So we'll add a 8 in front of this. Just receive way too much data. Come down here. Oops. And what do we get? We didn't even get all the data. Interesting. So, I know what I need like a receive. Make it bigger. Oops, I did not mean to close that. But we'll come down here and that'll work fine. We can do Python through Python -I JSON. I do need to find this again. Interesting. So it's not a matter of the size I'm receiving. It's a matter of it's not getting everything. Let's try that. So what if we do 2 of those? Yeah, so there it is. It's capping out in how much it receives per receive. So let's see. What do you think? What's the best way to do this? This is where I can really use a some sort of function to receive. Let's see. So we'll go down here and we'll do a while. We'll do buff equals like that. We'll do a while true. And this time we're going to say, let's see. So we'll do buff new data equals s.receive s.receive 4096. Why I like my multiples of 8 so much. wonder if we can do a socket timeout. Let's see, because what we want to do is not have it not go on forever. Just because when it gets to the end, it might get to the end and be still going, or we don't want waiting on more data, right? So it looks like I can just do if not chunk receive, if not chunk strip break. Let's try that. If not new data dot strip break, and then otherwise we'll do buff plus equals new data, and we'll stop right there and see what we can do. So sweet, that worked. And buff got me all the data, and it looks like it ends very nicely here. So that's exactly what I wanted. I'm gonna need next the JSON package. JSON, because then this would be very easy. We can just do a simple, let's see, so J equals JSON.loads. There's load, which loads from a file, and loads, which loads from a string. And I always remember that by loads. S has the S, and that's for string. So buff, and let's make sure that worked. So J. So J. Now it looks very similar, but now I can do things like J sub 0 and see the first line. I can do J sub 0 sub ID and pull that. So now we're back to what is the challenge asking us to do. So what are we doing here? We're just getting the domains from the email addresses, and we just need and we need to count them. Cool. Shouldn't be too hard. Let's come up here. I'm going to use another cool import. This one's got all the cool libraries in it. From collections import counter. What this is going to allow me to do is a counter. It's a really easy way to count, basically. I could also define like a default dict or something, but this will just be the easier way to do it, right? So basically what I'm going to do is, let's see, what do you think the best way to do this is? I'm going to do domain doms equals counter, and I'm going to put in something. So in this case, I'm going to do a list comprehension. I better show it down here. It comes down here. So I've got J. What I want to do is, so I'm going to do X for X in J, which is going to be the same thing. But now, instead of, I don't want everything from X, I really just want email. So now I got just the emails. And I don't even want the whole email, right? Because what I really want is a split on that and just take the last bit. And so that is my list of domains right there. And so again, just to be sure, I'm looping over all the objects, each one being X for its time. And then I'm getting the email, I'm splitting on the ampersand, or not the ampersand, the @ sign, and I'm taking the end to get the domain. And that should be all of this here. And so now, if I feed this into counter, oops, I didn't, from collections, import counter, it gives me this very nice, histogram basically, where it's a dictionary where the key is the domain and the value is the count. So that looks good. Let's take that. And anytime I'm like slightly uncomfortable with what I'm doing, I will come down here into an interactive terminal and work it out and then paste the result back into my code so I know I have something that works. So now I've got the domains there. And let's see, what's the easiest way to loop over this? I'm going to want to sort these. And And really, just to keep this quick and dirty, let's see, what's the easiest way to sort? Let's say, so we'll do doms equals doms sorted doms, comma, e equals lambda x. So when I do this, what it's going to be passing into it is the various names here. So I can do lambda x, and then I can pass in these domains, and I want it to sort first by the number and then by the value. What's the easiest way to do that? So I guess we can do, I don't know if this will work or not, but we'll try. So this would be doms x, comma, x to get us in value. Syntax is not working there. I can't spell lambda. Okay, so that worked, except, let's see, it seems to have sorted it by, seems to have sorted them by I should have only a few at the top here. Like 1, 2, 3 reg is not one of them. That didn't work. I'm going to do something a little bit cheaty here. I'm going to say max num equals max doms.values. And so like that will get me, in this case, 2. And I'm just going to cheat a little bit and do the sort in 2 steps. So now I can do for I in range max num, comma 0, comma -1. So I'm going to step down from the max range until I get to 0, and I won't do 0. And then I can say, what's my, I don't know what my letter here should, x equals d for d in doms if dom sub d equal to I. So x is going to be just the ones of that length. And then I can do for dd in sorted x, where reverse equals true, because I want to reverse lexicological order. Print f dd space doms dd. Now let's see if this works. Let me explain it and see if let me see what I'm trying to do. So I get the max number. In this case, it's 2. Then I'm going to loop, and I'm going to start at 2 and go down to 0. So I'm going to first I'll have 2, and this will get me all the domains in the counter that have 2 hits in sort as x. And then I'm going to sort x by these domain names in reverse, because that's what it asked for. And I'm going to loop over them and just print them out. And then I'll come up here and I'll go down to 1, and I'll get all the domains that are 1 stored in x, and then I'll sort x alphabetically, reverse lexilography, whatever it said in the thing, and then I'll loop over those and print them. And so this is super inefficient. If there was like, if it had to start at 100 or something, it would be a pain, but even that, I mean, it's going to go so fast that it shouldn't make a difference. So let's see what happens if we run this. That looks pretty good. Let's compare to the expected output. Taboo, PR Web, Privacy, Meetup, iStock Photo, IHG, Home, YouTube.be, Y Combinator. It looks perfect. We can check it against the expected hash. We'll get rid of the I. We'll put it into RunCode hash. The result is 81B8, ending it. Yep, that looks good. So it looks like we might have solved it. Browse here. Where is, are we doing JSON socket? Submit. Any second now, we should see if we succeed or not. Oh, but it's going to take a minute because it's having to do the proof of work all over again, because the proof of work is almost certainly different. So I'm going to pause the video and see when it comes back. And I'm back, and it has reported success, so it worked. So very cool. The trick but I'll save. I'm actually going to save it. Well, no, I'll show it real quick. So if I do let's see, copy JSON socket to dash home. Vim JSON socket.home. The trick to get Pwntools working on these libraries is very much basically I need to do. Let's see, we'll get rid of socket. We don't need that. And then we do. I'm reading this off my notes here. Import OS. os.environ term equals xterm from pwn import star and then context log level equals error. I think basically what this is doing is it's getting rid of all the interactive type things that could break when I go to interact with their server, which is almost certainly headless. So I don't need this receive until function anymore. I can do s equals, get rid of that line. Oops. I can do s equals remote, like that. So now that'll be my connection to the remote. And so now I can do s.receive until that, s.receive until same thing here, splits and length, blah, 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 hash. This will be s.receive 1024. That looks fine. So now I'm down here. Let's see if what else we can do. What else we have to mess with? Send will be the same. This will be s.receive until. Now I can get rid of this entire loop here and just do buff equals s receive all. I probably should have said this up front. What Pwntools gets me is just like easier, more intuitive interactions with the socket, so I'm not having to do that stuff by myself. So there's a receive all function and a receive until function just built into it, so I don't have to monitor, I don't have to mess with that stuff. Let's see if that worked. The odds that it worked on the first time seems low, but who knows? Let's see. So Python, and we just want to change this like that. It would help if I install Pwntools on this box. Sorry for that. New VM recently. All right. Remote is not iterable. Where are we here? Line 16. Oh, I don't even. Thought I deleted that, but let's get rid of that. Try again. Hopefully that wasn't being called. Oh, did I do all of that in? No. Undo. I'm in the wrong one. Okay, so let's get out of here. And we will vim JSON socket. I might have messed up my other one, but that's fine. It was on 16. S.receive until. So with my little function, I had to pass in the socket because it didn't have it. Now that I'm doing it as a matter of, as a function on that, on the object itself, the remote object, I don't need that to be passed in, so I got to clean that up. It's the type of error that if you were doing it from the beginning, it wouldn't matter, but because I'm trying to make the changeover at the last minute, it's going to introduce all kinds of errors. Let's see if that fixed it. Bytes warning text is not bytes, assuming ASCII 16. It wants me to do bytes there. That's kind of annoying. Right. Oh, no, but it's giving me, let's see, 81B8, was that it? 81B8. So I've got the right answer here. It's working again. So I'm not sure if that was actually useful or if that was kind of a waste of time, but that's how you can use Pwntools in RunCode. With that, I'm going to call it a video. Thank you so much for sticking to the end, and I'll talk to you next time.